the SDXL loader and the 1.5 loader, at least the efficient version of the XL loader, works effectively just like the other, right? We have a sacrificial node up here that provides our latent size. Right now we're doing 3:4 portrait, right? But we can change it to some other value. Go back down to square, right? And we are able to select whether or not we're going to use a common latent or the control net latent. Most time you're going to use this control net latent, right? And it's defaults to that. When I say control net latent, it's actually using either this node if it's present, or if a control net is being used, you delete this node and that will automatically wire up to this second input here, input number 2, and use that instead, right? And we'll go over that when we do the control net video. Below that, you can add, XL specific LoRa's. You also have the same kind of positive and negative prompt builder there. Below that, there is a different node that you probably don't recognize from the 1.5 video. This orange node is a refiner prompt, so you can give extra encoding information, or rather extra prompt information for the refiner. Stable Diffusion XL has a sort of 2-stage process, or it can have a two-stage process when generating its images. And that consists of the main model and then a refiner model, which is used to enhance detail and fix small things and that sort of stuff. Jury's out on whether it's always good to use it. Sometimes it's just, not actually that great, and it adds time to your generation. Other times it's essential. So you sort of have to play around with it for your own uses. It can also use its own VAE down here. So with that, you have a separate option here. In the center, we have ComfyUI stylers, right? And then up here, the same things that you're used to seeing, what you're going to target, basically. Send one as usual, and your title target, which will almost always be .star. Your efficient loader is here, and this is where you'll select your model. I have a lot more models than this, but in this case, we're just using the ones that are in our test installation. So we're going to stick with Dynavision here. You can, just like in 1.5, you can change your clip skip, etc. We can load the refiner here, and it'll give new options, right? So now we get new refiner clip skip, and whether we want to use an internal VAE or some external VAE, right? And when I do that, it's going to take a little while because it's going to, of course, load the refiner, which wasn't previously loaded. So we might not see this image change for a couple of moments. Down below that, we have a variety of send nodes, just like usually. The various nodes are stacked, so it looks like there's just maybe one, and you'll be like, where are the rest of them? It's just that you don't really have to mess with them, and so to save space, they're all stacked on top of each other, right? Again, within Shima, if a node is collapsed, you probably don't need it. You don't need to mess with it, unless you know what you're doing, right? Finally, down here, we have our SD constant version, which in this case is SDXL, and the SDXL size, which is 1024. This SDXL size, just like with the 1.5 at 512, it uses this 1024 value to determine the short side for certain images, so that when it calculates a resize, it gives it as close as it can to an SDXL native size. It ends up generating a little better image for you. And you'll see this in the IP adapter. You'll also see it in a couple of other modules throughout the system. So this allows us, this is a great use actually of the send nodes. It allows us to use this one value to fill in a whole bunch of values in a whole bunch of arbitrarily connected nodes, right? Without having to know, oh, I need to wire it up here and here and here every time you add something, right? And that's really a great example of the power of doing it in this fashion.